Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. You're tuned into the Sajdah Saturday Morning Coffee Talk, where we talk about life, love, and business. So let me give y'all time to get up, roll over, run downstairs, run into the kitchen, get your tea, get your coffee. You ain't even got to get dressed for this one because we can't see you no way. Give you time to get yourself together, and we'll be right back live with the Sajdah Saturday Morning Coffee Talk. In the meantime, make sure you like and subscribe, hit that little notification button down there, and hit that $ and that talk button too. All right? We'll see y'all in a few. Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings. You're tuned in to the Sajdah Saturday Morning Coffee Talks, where we talk about life, love, and business.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee. And he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee. And I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
I have received so many pleasures, so many very good to look at, whether you own them or not. It's a pleasure just to look at such presents. Why, I have never witnessed so many presents. I think I have to build me a house for presents. This shows what Allah can do for you and me if we believe in Him.
There is nothing that we could not accomplish in the name of God. You know what your problem is? You don't have even a worthy goal to strive after. I'm going to give you an assignment today. Here's an assignment. Is there something you want? Do you want something? Something that you want, but you have not been able to get it? Huh? Close your eyes. Do you see it? Whatever it is that you want, first envision it. You got the picture. Do you see it? All right, now the question is, you have to claim what you see. I claim this. I claim it. I believe with all my heart in the name of God that I'll bring what is in my imagination into reality. We're gonna bring it back like it never was. I see in the dome the name Allah written in Arabic. But I can't just dream, I gotta go to work. How do you bring it into concrete reality? First, without faith, you can't work the vision.
Assalamu alaikum, y'all. Peace be unto you. Happy Saturday morning. Welcome to the Sajdah Saturday Morning Coffee Talks, where we talk about life, love, and business. How's everybody doing this morning? I see y'all up and popping in the chat, getting ready. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that notification button. And if you're on YouTube, you know, there's those super talk buttons that you could hit. Let's hit some of those. We want to create our own algorithm since our tags with things like he lives and all that, folks don't like that. So we're gonna make sure we make it go viral ourselves. So what y'all drinking on? This morning, I got my Love Grows Here cup. It's from Target. And what I have a teapot with the basket, the strainer basket in it. And I steep in some elderberries this morning, some dried elderberries. And I put that with hot water and just let that steep and get all those good nutrients out of there and flavor from the elderberries. And then I put in some natural, locally grown honey, and I put that in there, and then this is what I'm drinking this morning. I got about a quarter of a pot left. That my little pot holds about 4 cups, 4 of these, 4 coffee mugs, I should say, not cups. And so I'll drink on that today. I try to do that regularly. I've been doing that since the pandemic. You know, my regimen that I got on during the pandemic, is something that I've just kept up with my really K-Pax super vitamins. I take those. If I'm going to be out in public, I'll take them twice a day. I take my elderberry, and I have a whole bunch of herbs that I make sure that I take on a regular basis. I don't drink a lot of tea in the tea bag already, unless it's somebody that I know that bagged it, like my girl, Dr. Amin in DC. She bags her own tea. And so I will use hers, but I don't really go to the store and buy like tea bags. Every once in a while I will. And if I do it just for the flavoring, because I know that by the time it gets to us, it's almost already dead anyway. So it's nothing but probably just a little flavor. But I use my herbs to create the actual tea. But today, this is just soaked and dried elderberries soaked in hot water for about an hour, and then creating a tea, adding some honey. So that's what we did there. Let's see what y'all doing in this chat. Brother Lamont, good morning. Assalamu alaikum. Well, wa alaikum salam, sir. I pray you are feeling better. Look at Regional Sky Girl in the house. Wa alaikum salam. We got Sister Alita in the house. Wa alaikum salam. Saturday blessings. Yeah, the minister said, you have not even a worthy goal. Whoa. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. Sophia Shabazz, Dr. Sophia Shabazz, welcome, sis. Wa alaikum salam. Sis, people have been asking for you and I to do a show together, Sister Sophia. So we gotta have a conversation and talk about what we want to talk about, right? Not something that's so obvious that everybody is on top of, but some of the little things that we miss as humans walking around here on this planet. Wa alaikum salam, Brother Victor. Thank you so much for your support. Brother Lamont said he's making ginger tea. That sounds good. Dr. Shabazz is working on her last batch of chai. That's right. Okay. Sister Sandra D, I just saw her. The chat is moving. Wa alaikum salam, family. Welcome. Yeah, so let's do it, sis. Will send me your I don't know if you know I don't know if you can DM me or send me your email address or something like that, and we can figure out how to connect. Okay. All right, so this past week we took a little bit of a break on our building the economy. Ooh, thank you, Regional Sky Girl. We appreciate that. We took a little bit of a break on our building our economy series, and we talked to my good sister, Sister Mecca Muhammad, and she was talking about the entertainment industry, and she wrote a book called American Mecca. And she said, before you go to Hollywood, read this book. I'm saying before you get off into this entertainment world, even any world, she's got some good wisdom in there about things that you should look out for, and the way in which this enemy, and I'm saying this enemy because anybody that attempts to control you and take you off of your agenda and negotiate you out of your position is our enemy, is your enemy. So she talked about that. That was good. For me this week, something that was significant. I'm a big fan of Tony Robbins. I have been for years, and I've gone to quite a few of his seminars. One of the things my brother and I have fun doing together is going to Tony's workshops, and we're both silly people. So when he's like having people dancing, you see us, we up in there dancing and acting silly. We like jumping around. We like shouting out the motivational stuff. We got a chance to meet him and spend a little time and take some pictures. So I enjoy Tony. And so Tony had a 2.5-day free workshop this week. I wasn't able to tune in the entire 2.5 days, but I had to go and get my car serviced this week. And I took my iPad in and my iPod, my earpods, and I said, you know what? They already told me that it was going to be 2 hours. I said, oh, I can check some emails and tune in on Tony, right? And when I tuned in, he was talking about how our identity of ourselves, I'm paraphrasing, and how we see ourselves impacts our life, our world, our effectiveness. And it was such a beautiful reminder, not only of what I had learned from him, what I had learned from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, but what we learned from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad: accept your own and be yourself. And as I was listening to Tony explaining the power of identity, and he talked about how when you get so accustomed to seeing yourself with your flaws and the things that you don't like about yourself, like maybe you don't like your body, maybe you don't like your hair, maybe whatever it is that you don't like or that is not acceptable to you, you make it a part of your identity, your problems, that man in your life that just isn't serving you, that woman in your life that just isn't serving you, family issues, that becomes part of your whole overall identity. And then you set goals and you never really quite get there, or you're always constantly struggling, or you get there and you fall off, you get there and you fall off. And he said it's because you haven't changed your identity. You're still holding those old beliefs in your vibrational crawl so that it's still part of who you are. And so I think that's why you have to be careful about telling a whole bunch of old stories. I don't even like therapists that make you spend a lot of time on old stuff and on the past. I think sometimes you can hit it so you can recognize how it has impacted you. But the real deal is focusing on who you are now and who you need to be so that you can walk right into your purpose. And it just took me to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, giving us a new identity as a people and telling us to accept our own and be yourself. And a lot of people say, well, what is that? Well, then he told us who we are. But I think on a micro level, us not understanding what he was really telling us has kept us on a hamster wheel as individuals and as a people. The minister has spent a tremendous amount of time, his entire life, trying to get us to accept our own and be ourselves. And I think sometimes we accept that out here, right? But we don't accept it in here. So there's so many of us that believe in God. We say, oh, I believe in Allah. I believe, but we don't believe in ourselves. There's a study guide that talks about, I can't remember which one, the God within. How many of us have some belief of the God within? We're always so busy, and this is the balance, right? We have to be careful about not making the God within so big that we think the God within is bigger than the power that's outside of us that's greater. Not understanding that the God within is a fragment or an extension of the greater power outside of us. And just kind of understanding how to place those things, that oftentimes we push down the God within. We forget what we showed up on the planet to do. We forget our dreams. We forget our goals in the name of allegedly sacrificing. We forget. And we don't realize that when we do that and we throw ourselves away and we forget the God within, we forget who we are, we begin to identify with the pain that permeates through our life. We can go to school and become doctors and lawyers and engineers, but we're still that little girl with the trauma that's a doctor, lawyer, and engineer. That little boy that spent time in juvenile and was sexually abused, we're still that person as a doctor, lawyer, or engineer. And I always notice how powerful it is for me. And this is something that Tony was really drilling into on that workshop. And I got to go back because I was teaching a webinar myself on Wednesday and Thursday, so I wasn't able to tune in. But Friday, when he was hitting that point on self-identity, it opened my eyes and allowed me to begin to see how even myself, I was cutting myself off from my blessings because I had allowed somebody or people and their treatment of me to negotiate me out of my position. So that's why at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter what people think of you. It doesn't really matter what people say about you. It matters whether or not they've convinced you that it's true, which is deep, right? Because I can walk up and not like you. I can say all kind of bad things about you. But do you believe that? And you may say, no, that's on you. That's on you and what you believe. But have you incorporated my treatment of you in your vibration so that your identity includes how I treat you? Which means that I'm penetrating and altering your identity. It's deep, right? So one of the things as an empath that I wrestle with is I'm always feeling stuff. I'm always knowing, just if you're around me, I pick up on the oddest details about things. I've learned not to always say something about them, but I'm a true empath. And you all know my journey with that, in that growing up, I hated myself for being an empath because I did not like it when other people were able to impact how I felt or control my emotions just by them being ignorant or who they are. The converse is true, right? You surround yourself with good people that can impact you. But I always hated that. And it took me a while to learn how to own and manage and monetize my own identity. What do I mean by monetize my own identity? I mean, make it productive. Make it so that as I review my identity of myself, it's putting me in the right vibrational place so that I then can go and get what I want, or I then can impact what's important to me, or I ultimately can align myself with the will of God. And it all starts with a thought. When I first started this show and I started blogging, I spent probably 6 months talking about the power of thought and how thoughts are spiritual energy. And it's not always what we think consciously. A lot of times it's what we think subconsciously, or what we are allowing somebody to deposit in our vibrational bank because we've opened ourselves up to them. We open ourselves up to them most of the time when it comes to love. When we love somebody, that is an opening of spirituality. It's an opening of a spiritual portal. It's an opening when you love. So when you open yourself, you become like a little bird that's, the baby bird when it's waiting on the mother and father to put the food, and you see them with their mouth open and they're just chirping, chirping. That's what we become like when we love, because then that love becomes a direct pathway or a conduit, so that comes from the source which you love can be deposited right up inside of you. So we have to be careful who we open ourselves up to. Okay. It's very, very important. Who do we open ourselves up to? And a lot of us just want to love so bad that we open ourselves to things that are not good for us. And for me as an empath, I'm always conscious of when I open myself to something that comes in like, boom, I'm like, whoa, what was that? And if you know me, so I'm constantly analyzing how, this opening or this love or this, how it impacts me. And I have to do that just because of how my body and my spirituality reacts to things. So, and sometimes you have to go around and kind of close up those doors a little bit and adjust how you're allowing that person to impact you on a subconscious level. So when Tony was talking about identity and how we see ourselves, it took me to accept your own and be yourself. And then it took me to this from the Holy Quran. They desire to put out the light of Allah with their mouths, and Allah will allow nothing save the perfection of his light, though the disbelievers are averse. That's from Surah 9, verse 32. And that came to me so clearly, and it just kind of downloaded into my subconscious, because I said, what's happening is that these converse positions, this low energy is negotiating us into or out of our position and into the position of the person that's running their mouth. They desire to put the light of Allah, put out the light of Allah with their mouths. So they're talking to you and they're saying certain things. And if you're not vibrationally conscious, you won't see how it's dimming your light because it sounds good. So this is why we got to be more sensitive and understand vibration. We don't realize that this person running their mouth, they could be saying they love you. They could be saying you're the best. They could be saying things that feel good to your ego, things that soothe the trauma that you've been through. They can be saying all of those things. That's a seduction. They could be seducing you out of your position. You won't even notice it because your eye is not on the prize, which is the light, the energy. Remember, I think it's in the restrictive laws of Islam where the minister talked about light and motion. So light being shown on something creates motion, and that's what you need in order to transform, in order to ascend, in order to move. But when they put the light out in you, with their mouth, next thing you know, you're being negotiated out of your position, bite by bite, blow by blow. I think it was Maya Angelou who always talked about, there's an African proverb, and I don't know the origin of it, that when you're being moved out of your position, it's like bite and blow. The person bites you, it's a little bite, and they blow on it. So you don't know what happened. You don't know it hurt. You just focus on the breeze. And it's bite and blow and bite and blow, bite and blow, bite and blow. Pretty soon, you're off your square. And you're wondering why you're not successful anymore, why maybe things have kind of flatlined for you. But that's because somebody that you love came in with an intention that negotiated you out of your position, attention that you accepted. You allowed the energy of their intention to overpower your life intention. And how does that happen? Whether they make you give attention to what they're doing, you put down what you're doing to love on them, to take care of them, to do what they need. But instead, you didn't go back to your own personal life intention. So it's important, oftentimes when you're of service to other people, and sometimes, you can't get away from this, you got to come back at night or throughout the process and come back to yourself and never allow that person to abuse you. Because when they bite and blow and then they hit you with the abuse, oftentimes you go with it and you just keep going back. You stay. It's like having a relationship and a lot of bad things happened at the beginning and the person told you who they were at the beginning, but then you came back and was like, it's okay. It's all right. Yeah. So they desire to put out the light of Allah with their mouths. This is so deep. I could go into this on so many levels because people run their mouth and we sometimes get so caught up on what they say. This happens in society with advertising, with media. Talk. And then next thing you know, they distract you and the lie is over here, but you looking over here because they talking, and they distract you. They put out your light because you're not feeding on the truth anymore. The truth is over here. They lied about the truth. That's over here, but you looking this way. But Allah will allow nothing save the perfection of his light. So nothing wins. That's why the devil cannot do anything but destroy and steal. He can't create. Because Allah won't allow anything that is not in alignment with his law to create. I don't care who you are. If you don't line up right, it ain't gonna work. And we can go into that later at another point. Here's another thing. Do not let people control your feelings because they will use this to negotiate you out of your rightful place. I'm just writing down some of the thoughts that came to me as I was listening to Tony Robbins. Oh, Miss Phoenix, thank you. Thank you so much. Alita, thank you. So Regional Sky Girl says, yes. I see Nubia Latifa has joined us. Walaikum salam, sis. Welcome. This is, thank you all. This is really a blessing. Thank you. All right. So just something for us to think about because we lose sight of this because we get so caught up. And this is, let me tell you how you write myself a note to say something to you all. This is how you combat it. You got to be on top of your prayers. You got to be on top of your energy and your own motivation. You got to be on top of it. You got to identify, re-identify, remind yourself. I'll give you an example. I have always been a powerful manifester when it comes to real estate. Um, it's just a gift that Allah blessed me with. I can't even take credit for it. And let me just give you a little bit of the trail of how it evolved and how it came about. Um, because it wasn't something I was taught as a child. It really wasn't something I was really exposed to as a child. I was exposed to business as a child, but I wasn't exposed to real estate. Um, and it's such a gift for me that you know, when I watch other people in real estate, a lot of times I don't even engage because my knowledge of it and my blessing from it comes from a place that is outside of myself. And to be completely honest with you, um, I probably need to engage in the interaction of it a little bit more. But let me give you an example. So when I was in college, I started out majoring in computer engineering. The summer before I got into the engineering college, because you all know, even if you go to college and say you majored in engineering, you still got to get accepted into the engineering college. And so the summer before I got accepted into the college, I had a internship. I think it was at McDonnell Douglas. I think that's what it was called back then. And we were working on these airplanes and stuff and these engineers, and I hated it because I was just starting to understand the part of my personality that loved people. And I was just starting to learn how to use my empathic, skills and all of that. And I hated it. But I had allowed myself to be talked into going into engineering by, I guess you could call it like societal groupthink. Um, my counselors was like, you got good math and science scores. You should be a doctor. You should be an engineer. I always wanted to be nothing other than a business mogul, a business person. Nothing other than that. It just reminded me of, I told the minister that story about how I wanted to be a mogul, and my father would call me his little mogul. And he said, this is in the same conversation where he named me. He said, well, I got a better word. No, he said, what does a mogul mean? And I told him. And he said, well, I got a better word for you. How about you are a god? And so I identify now as a god. But I wanted to be a business mogul at that time. And I got talked out of it, got negotiated out of that. I spent these 2 years in computer engineering, got accepted. I realized when I went to that engineering internship that I was going to be miserable, and this was about to be a miserable life for me. No shade against engineers, but I knew it then. And when I went, I was going to transfer. I was going to transfer to the University of Nebraska and just leave and go and do business somewhere else. But then I just said, I'm gonna stay here. And I ended up switching my degree to finance and accounting. I had so many credits. I ended up doing like a 5-year program with one of these advanced type of dual degree things. But when I graduated and I started out in finance, there was a externship training program, I guess you could call it. That's how you could describe it, with an insurance company that I went on. And everybody who, was choosing went into residential insurance to study how to be an underwriter. It was a underwriter's externship. And I was particularly interested in that because I wanted to understand. I knew that if I had a chance to sit with underwriters and actuaries, that I could understand business from a different angle. That's why I chose it. But I wanted to go into commercial underwriting. Thank you, Sister Sevilla. Thank you so much. I wanted to go into commercial underwriting. Okay. And so when I went into commercial underwriting, and I just did it, the emphasis ended up being on commercial real estate. And I did really well at that. There was like an insurance certification and all this other stuff that we got. And then when I got out of that internship, I started to work in different little areas related to real estate. Even when I started auditing at PwC, I was getting real estate clients. And then even when I, bought my first property, I bought and sold quite a few property. I only lost money one time. And if you know anything about real estate, that's rare. But Allah always would show me and bless me what locations to go to, what to buy, when to sell it. And a lot of times it would be against like the industry standards. The other thing, when I thought then, I didn't understand where Allah was taking me. So I went into real estate sales. And I didn't do very well as a salesperson. But what I realized was that wasn't where he wanted me. He wanted me on the developer side. And so even as a consultant, I was on projects where I was developing hotels. You all know that I built a hospital where I was the lead builder. It just started to come from a place that was outside of me. And it's very difficult to explain, but I just get the download and the inspiration on how to do it and what to do it, whether it's decorating, materials, you name it, apartment buildings. It's just, it really is like a calling. I'm not sure where it's going, but it really is. But I've only lost money one time. And that one time was because I let somebody talk me into going into something with them that was against my better judgment. And the person was a good friend, or is a good friend still. And the person was somebody I was close to. And I was like, all right, I'll do it with you. But I knew Allah was telling me, girl, what are you doing? Just go ahead on. And we lost money from day one. Day one. But that was the only time ever. I bought and sold properties that I bought and sold really quickly. Some that I held on to, some that I lived in, and then let the market move and then sold. I don't know. I think it comes from, my ancestry, right? That's the nomadic Fulani in me that just kind of knows real estate. Even when I was working with the group in Africa that builds cities, it was just so fascinating to me because I was really literally learning how they develop cities, not on a city planning level, but on a real practical boots on the ground level. But in that becomes part of my identity, right? And when I allowed the person who's my good friend to use his mouth to get me to do something that I didn't really think was a good idea, what happened? I lost a lot of money. I lost time. And it took a lot of time even to get out of it. It was rough. But yeah, so it can impact you. It can impact you in a number of different ways. So certain things about yourself that are true, use that to create your identity, expand your identity. I have so many real estate stories. Some of you all have heard my real estate stories. You go back on the podcast, you can hear me tell those real estate stories. Some of them have been properties that I've gotten that just was real nasty. Some that, just weren't nasty at all, that just kind of worked out. It's just been funny situations related to it. So I think I have I think it's on Spotify. I think it's called Real Estate Stories. And you can hear some of the stuff about my real estate activities, even on the west side of Chicago, which I love the west side. But I've had some Interesting real estate. Look, and then let me tell you this. It's not even neighborhood driven. This is how I know it's, for me, it's a spiritual thing. I've done real estate work on the west side of Chicago, in K-Town, in some of the areas that's supposed to be the worst. I've done real estate in North Baltimore, where you see The Wire was filmed. Both areas at the time probably similar in demographic. I would say North Baltimore being worse from a financial standpoint. I damn near lost my shirt in North Baltimore. But in West Side of Chicago, it didn't happen like that. The West Side blessed me. The West Side blessed me in so many ways, from the love that I received, the work. The West Side blessed me, but North Baltimore did not like me. That's where a friend of mine convinced me to go. But anyway, what y'all saying over here in the chat? She said, I love the problem solving skills I developed studying engineering. Yeah, you're right, Sister Sophia. That's exactly right. The problem solving skills. That's right. I want to be a real estate mogul and a god too. Brother Lamont said he's been a licensed realtor 10 years. My brother pulled me into it. It was rough for us, but we stayed the course and bloomed up and until his passing. Yeah, Brother Lamont, the sales side is not for me. It's too much drama. It's too much showing properties and too much time. I think I'm probably too much of a busybody for it. I like the development side. I like, give me a property and I'll help you figure out what to do with it. We'll build it, we'll develop it, we'll build it out, sell it, flip it. That's kind of more my thing. Sales is not me. Sister Aletha is laughing. Brother said, oh my God, he got a cousin that is a landlord in North Baltimore. Listen, baby, I was trying to be a landlord in North Baltimore. It ain't. I think about the best thing is seeing the brothers outside doing the Baltimore shuffle in front of the liquor store. It was these brothers that used to dance out there all the time. Listen, when they had those riots, when those police officers murdered Freddie Gray, I don't know if you remember that, and they was rioting in North Baltimore. I was like, just turn down that street, just go and tear up that place that we got over there. But they never did. They never did. We had to go back up over there after the riots and figure that out. Listen, and don't try to go to court in North Baltimore. That's a whole nother experience, because the court system don't even work. It just don't work. It's just piled up with a bunch of people. You can't make nothing happen. You try to, it's just, yeah. So North Baltimore told me, get your butt up out of here. And I got up out of there and I left, and I ain't been back since. I'm good. I don't have to go back. I'm good. I'm out. But Allah told me not to go up over there anyway. And I can't say that, because my friend kept saying, well, it's probably because it was too hood. I said, no, because the West Side loved on me. West Side still love me. But North Baltimore, West Side Chicago still love me. But North Baltimore, no. Anyway, so I just wanted to talk to us today about identity and how we define ourselves. What do you say about yourself? What do you say to yourself about yourself? What's your personal identity? Who are you? And how do you hold true to who you are? And are you allowing the media? Are you allowing someone else? Who are you allowing to define and redefine you? And you got to be a little bit arrogant. You got to stick your nose up in the air. You got to stick your chest out up in the air. You got to be proud of what God has made. I'm so honored that this person God has decided to put together in this way. I'm just so honored. I'm so honored when I get to do something to work on this creation and improve it. I'm on this new fitness and weight loss journey that I'm so proud of, that is being really successful. And I'm just so honored to have this body to be able to work on in the name of Allah. I'm just honored. I'm so honored to have this mind that Allah allows me to shape and mold and try my best to line up with Him. It's just fun to me. I'm so honored to have this body. I'm so honored to cook for this body. I'm so honored to love this person, this me. I'm so honored. I love getting this person dressed in the morning. I love putting clothes on this person. I love the sound of this person. I love looking for Allah and His deposits within this person. I love sitting down, having a meditative session and connecting with Allah and just feeling Him coursing through this body and knowing like, ooh, I sat down and got to feel that. I love that. That's who I am. I love manifesting. I love going, all right, let me solve this problem. Let me see what aspects of God I can tap into to solve this problem, this challenge. Because there's nothing I can't solve without Him. There's nothing I can't do without Him. I tell anybody who works for me, give me the information, good or bad, because I can always solve a problem. I can always solve the problem. Why? Because I got the help of the Creator Himself, who's in me, who's deposited in me. And the very fact that the problem comes in my face means that I got the capacity to solve it and to fix it. And I love that. Bring it. You mess with me, you want to fight. I'm like, oh, this is getting ready to be a new way. See, I'm a little crazy too. I'm like, oh, this is a new way for me to find out how Allah has deposited in me. Oh, you want to start something? You don't want to start. That's the worst thing you could do with somebody like me. Start something? You don't want to do that, because when you do that, I'm going to go to a supernatural level. And not only am I going to whip you, when I come out on the other side, I'm going to be a new person and you ain't going to even be able to touch me no more. And then the blowback from the explosion of my elevation is going to burn you up by the grace of Allah. That's that. You don't want to do that. That's a blessing. I love it when somebody shows me who they are and they do it in a hard way. I love it when they do something hateful, especially if I thought they was a certain way, because I go, oh, thank you, Allah, for showing me, because they was presenting a certain way to me with their mouth. They was putting out my light, but I didn't see it. But since they got slick at the mouth, it allows me to be able to adjust. Since they did this real dumb thing over here, it allows me to adjust. It don't even necessarily mean that guy got to throw him away. It just means, okay, thank you for allowing me to see that. That is a blessing, because now I can adjust. I just got to make an adjustment because you showed me. I love that. I think when that happens, I'm like, oh, Allah, that was ugly, but thankful. I've been saying to people that in the last 2.5 years to 3 years, especially with the development of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House, I have I have learned some things that I can say that I did not necessarily want to learn. But it's been a blessing because it's helped me figure out how to create the right boundaries, guard my identity, so that I can move forward and be successful. And it's been some knocks, some hard blows, some tough knocks. But it's a blessing. It's a true blessing, because all those hidden things that when you're not close to him, you have to go through, and it's hidden. And you're just trudging, you're climbing. You don't know that you got somebody, you don't know you got a hyena on this thigh that done bit into your thigh and cut off your femoral artery. You don't know that over here you got somebody that done took your toes off because you can't see them. But when they show you their backside, ooh, it's such a blessing. Because you can go, oh, you know what? Let me get this hyena off my thigh so I can climb on up this tree, so I can go ahead and elevate. Y'all feel me? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Let me say this last thing. I get so many weird phone calls. I'm looking this up because I had to pull over. I was driving. I had to pull over and write this up. I get so many phone calls from people, from crazy people. I get a lot of good, beautiful phone calls from people who are supportive of the completion and the rebuilding of the museum and of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House. But I get a lot of real crazy phone calls and a lot of crazy people who think they own Islam and think they own something. And I'm going to read to you something that I said to somebody this week. They actually called me anonymously. They called me on a private line. I'm not going to tell you what they said because it was a low-key threat. But I'm going to tell you what Allah directed me to say. And it came so fast in my brain that I just had to pull over, and I couldn't even figure out how to put it on speaker and record it with my other phone. It's like Allah just overwhelmed me with the message. And I'm going to say this because what he gave me as a download to say to this person on the phone is something that I think we all can use, especially in this day and time when people are trying to put the light of Allah out with their mouths, when they're trying to hurt our feelings to stop us from being true believers. This is what I said. I said, is that a threat? I said, you don't own Allah and you don't own Islam. Allah straightens the means of subsistence for whom he pleases. What I'm looking at, and I said it like this because the person says when they started their little low-key threat, they said, what I'm looking at is, and I said, what I'm looking at is somebody who walked away. And after I see you rotting and decaying like a dead animal, I can't unsee it. See, you don't believe no more. That's why you rotten. You thought you owned him, referring to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So you thought you had the right to throw him away. Your hypocrisy stinks, and I can smell it through the phone. Get the hell off my damn phone. And they hung up. Why am I saying that? People will come to you and give you the impression that they own something. They own Islam. They own the teachings. They own the nation. They own the museum space. They own the real estate space. They own this. I remember when we first started out in medicine, these gangster doctors met with my business partner and act like they own the Black patients in the DMV area. They gave him zip codes and they said, you can operate with and get patients from these zip codes, but you can't use these zip codes. I told him, I said, that's gang banging and set tripping. I know that from the West Side. That's gang banging right there. You're going to tell this doctor what territory he can get patients from? People will try to act like they own something. They don't own nothing because they want to put the light of Allah out within you with their mouth. Don't let them do it. Don't let them do it. If you sit back and you learn to look at things mathematically and you pay attention, you can always find a comeback. You can always find a solution. You may decide that you don't want to say anything. I went off on this person without cussing them out. But what I'm saying to you is don't let them come to you acting like they own something they don't own. That is the move of the devil. See, the devil came to America and act like they owned America. So they killed everybody that was here and developed the land like, oh, this is ours. We taking this. And that's the same tactic that they're using on you and I. Oh, I own this. Yeah, I used to be in the nation. I used to be in real estate. I used to be whatever. And then try to act like they own it so that they can trick you and take it from you. Listen, we got to buck up today. You see something, say something. Tell the truth. Be honest. You can be respectful. Don't let people play in your face no more. It's time out for that. We're living in a different day and time. This is not 1980, where the grace of Allah goes on so long that people get away with stuff and they never get caught. Nowadays, the karma come back quick. Y'all know I can't pop my fingers, but you know what I mean. It comes back quick. Don't let them do it. Stand up. If you laying down right now on your side, on your back, and you depressed and you a little sad, sit up. Sit up. Don't let nobody else deposit nothing in you anymore that negotiates you out of your position. The next step you take needs to be a position of a step of assurity, a step of knowing. You got to know that God is with you. You got to know like you know who you are. And you got to move like it. Just like you ain't sitting up thinking about whether or not your heart is going to take its next beat. You better get up and take that step with that same assurity. And so I just wanted to put that out there and say that to you because, you know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said we can wrap these people around our little finger with just a piece of his knowledge. Accept your own and be yourself. When you know who you are, can't nobody take you off your square. And all of the depression we're feeling, all the sadness, all the things that we're doing that's preventing us from having what we want, the bills we can't pay, the money we not making, the success we not having, the children we can't raise, is because somebody has knocked us off our square. Either they told us as a parent that we need to be a friend to our children and just let them do whatever they want. They knocked you off your parental square. Whether they told you that as a real estate agent, you can't sell no property or you can't make the money, they've knocked you off your square. Whether they've told you you can't make this money, you can't have this or that, they've knocked you off of your square. Why on God's earth would he put you here and let you not have the resources to live? Only reason why we not living and getting what we want is because somebody else has taken over our mind. They can sit there and tell you, you don't know God. You can't be a Muslim. You can't be a Christian. You can't love Jesus. You can't love Muhammad. You can't do this or that. You don't own him. You can't tell me what I can and cannot do. He talks directly to me, just like he talks directly to you. I'm always getting downloads from God because I look for him in everything and everywhere, with every fiber of my being. My prayer is that may every cell in my body worship God. And may every breath I take be a prayer. So my boundaries are real strong and real clear. I get blindsided. Just like the best of them. But Allah always shows me they gonna bite a little too hard or knock me down a little too hard. And when I'm looking up at them, I say, oh, no, you didn't. And I know how to get up and do what I got to do, just like you do. So stay close to Allah, family. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. Sister Sophia said, I want to warn somebody trying to start with me right now. Yeah, ma'am. People be trying to come for you because they see you weak. Sister Letha said, yes, say that. Sandra D said, yes, sis, I feel you. I jammed on and thanked Allah on Anita Baker's You're the Best Thing Yet. You're the best thing yet. Yep. To ever come into my life. All these talks lead back to the other things. You're good enough. You know what? And one of my sister friends, I have to thank Sister Sadia. She said to me, and because I have these little notes, she said, don't qualify it. Just say I'm enough. So we're going to change that, Sister Sandra, to say, I'm enough. I'm enough. I'm enough. All right. Let's see. Reading through the teaching says, Assalamu alaikum. He lives. Amen. Amen. She said, yes, say that again. Brother Lamont said, I'm experiencing that now with these so-called Arabs who believe they own Islam. See, once you decide in your mind, Brother Lamont, that they don't own nothing, listen, all religion has been hijacked by white people or white adjacent people. That's not racist. That's a fact. Why? Because the original man is the black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth. The original is black. All things come from black. So the original worship, the original religion, the original everything is black. But it's so powerful that people who didn't look like the originator decided that they wanted to do what? Own it. And so they took the religions, they took every field of endeavor and they owned it and kicked the original man and woman out. So mathematics, what did they do up there in Mali with all the teachings and the advanced mathematics? They took it. When they went throughout what we call Africa now, they not only did they take the continent, they named it after a conqueror, and then they took all the jewels and put them in the artifacts in England. In the museums in England, there's more African artifacts in England than there are in Africa. So once you decide that I don't really care how you act, but you don't own this, I, as a descendant of the Creator, have the right to worship whatever religion and practice whatever religion I want. Islam is a way of life. It's not even a religion. So if I want this to be my way of life, you don't have the right to tell me that I can't or act like you own it. In fact about it, I'm not even bucking up against you because you stole it. I'm just saying to you, listen, bro, listen, sister, you don't own it. And so if this is what I want to do, I can do this. If you can identify as a cat or a dog, I can identify as a Muslim. And at the end of the day, my whole life goal is to be of value, to be of service. And as this person that practices this that you think you own, I don't discriminate against nobody. I don't hurt nobody. I'm adding value to people. I'm blessing people. I'm taking care of people. I'm doing whatever I can do to be a good citizen of the universe, despite your actions. So you miss me with you own something. Anyway, calling anonymously tells you a lot. Oh yeah, that's exactly right. You're going to call privately. And the only reason why I answer, because the private, they kept calling. And sometimes I get calls that are private that are important people. They just happen to call me from private. So I just answered. That's when I wished I had an iPhone where I could hit record, because Android only has the one-sided recording. But I got a solution for it now. Okay, so Sandra D said, teach, sister. Brother Lamont said, yes, go ahead. That's right. I hope y'all fired up. Y'all ready to go? Brother Lamont said, I'm going to pop them for you, sis. Go and get them, Brother Lamont. Way too darn comfortable. That's right, sis. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, family. Let's go. Let's go. Let's step up, accept our own. And be ourselves. Let's step into our rightful place. Let's be the makers and the owner and the cream of the planet Earth that we know that we were told that we are and that we know we are destined to be. Okay. We're not haters. We know how to manage and rule people from all races. We're people of service. We love a good spirit. We're not around here hurting people. You could come and meet with us and sit with us no matter what background you come from. You don't own nothing. We all borrowing everything from Almighty God Allah. We don't own nothing while we're here. So anyway, with that, family, I love you all. Thank you for the blessings. Make sure you support Sajdah House. The Cash App is going across. Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises. Let's see. I think I gave you all the announcements. Oh, next week we're continuing with episode 3 from Building Our Economy on the Mind of an Entrepreneur show. And on that, we're going to be talking about protecting our traders. So security for our businesses, right? Cybersecurity, physical security, but just protecting it mentally, physically, spiritually, across the board, financially, you name it. All right. Peace and blessings, family. I love you all very much. I send each and every one of you who have been supportive and who follow the show nothing but blessings. If you bless me, I've asked Allah to turn that right around and multiply it tenfold in your lives. And so thank you, each and every one of you. All right, peace and blessings. And make sure you tell somebody, forward the show, forward it, tell somebody, chime in. All right, love you all. Happy Saturday.